The cold wind of Neo-Seattle brushed across Orion Vale's face as he walked along the empty highway. His coat was old, his boots worn out, and his backpack carried all he had, just a blanket, a few tools, and some dry bread. Life had been hard since the war. Once a respected soldier, now he was just another homeless man the world had forgotten. The sky above was dark, glowing with neon trails from passing airships. But this part of the city was quiet, too far from the shining towers and busy roads. As he walked, Orion noticed a silver hovercar by the roadside. Its lights blinked weakly, and soft steam rose from its open hood. Most people would have ignored it. But Orion had seen too many broken things, left alone people. Machines, even himself. As he approached, he saw her. A woman stood beside the hovercar, pacing nervously. Her coat was sleek, her heels not made for walking, and her eyes full of frustration. She was clearly someone from the rich parts of the city, far from her comfort zone. Need help? Orion asked carefully, stopping a few feet away so he wouldn't alarm her. She turned quickly, her hand going to her pocket where a small defense tool flashed red. "Stay back," she warned. "I've already called a drone." Orion raised his hands. "I'm not here to harm you, just saw your car, and thought maybe you needed help. I know a bit about machines." The woman paused. Her name was Celeste Arden, though Orion didn't know that yet. She was one of the youngest tech millionaires in the city, owner of Arden Biotech, and the mind behind some of the most advanced medical technologies in the world. But tonight, she was just a stranded woman in need of help. She looked at the dark road stretching behind her and then back at Orion. "You're a mechanic?" she asked doubtfully. "I was a soldier," he said. "Fixed more transports in the field than I can count." She hesitated, then stepped aside. "It stopped flying. Says there's a thermal fault. I tried restarting it, but the system won't engage." Orion nodded and stepped closer, lifting the hood with practiced ease. Steam hissed out, and the engine's core flickered weakly. He studied the connections, then pulled out a small wrench. From his bag, "Your core coil is overheating. These newer models sometimes misread temperature data. I can reroute the sensor temporarily, just to get you home." She watched as he worked, his hands fast but gentle. Within minutes, the flickering stopped. The engine hummed softly, its lights returning to normal. He stepped back. "Try it now." Celeste slid into the driver's seat and tapped the controls. The hovercar lifted slightly off the ground, steady and smooth. "It worked," she said, surprised. "Told you." Orion smiled, wiping his hands on his coat. "It won't last forever. You should take it to a real mechanic soon." Celeste stepped out again, her expression softer now. "Thank you, really, let me pay you." He shook his head. "No need. Just glad I could help. At least let me drop you off somewhere." He looked out at the road, then back at her. "I'm fine. Got a spot nearby." She didn't know what to say. Something about this man felt different, calm, strong, kind. Not what she expected to find on a dark highway. "Okay. But if you ever need anything," she said, pulling the card from her coat, "this has my company name, Arden Biotech. Ask for Celeste." Orion took the card politely. "Thank you." And with that, she stepped into her car and lifted off into the sky, vanishing into the neon-lit clouds. Orion stood alone once more, but something had changed. For the first time in a long while, someone had looked at him, not with fear, but with respect, and though he didn't know it yet, this one good deed was about to change his life forever. Celeste Arden sat in her tall office tower overlooking Neo-Seattle, but her mind wasn't on the glowing screens in front of her. Her assistants moved quietly around her, updates flowing in from departments across the world. She was the CEO of Arden Biotech, young, brilliant, and powerful. But all she could think about was the man on the highway, the man with tired eyes and kind hands. She hadn't even asked. "His name, Aura," she called softly. A soft chime echoed in the room as her AI assistant responded. Yes, Miss Arden? I want you to search the Eastern Highway cameras from last night. Look for someone walking around mile marker 22. Someone wearing a brown coat, carrying a backpack. I need a visual ID. Searching now, the AI replied. Celeste leaned back in her chair. She had met many people, politicians, scientists, business leaders, but something about that man stood out. He had nothing, yet refused to take anything from her. That kind of honesty was rare in a city like this. Moments later, Aura spoke again. Target found. Facial match indicates his name is Orion Vale, former soldier, discharged 6 years ago. No current residence. Last seen living in Zone Delta abandoned district near the industrial ruins. Zone Delta, Celeste whispered. That area had been forgotten long ago. No services, no law. Only the lost and broken remained there. Should I alert authorities? Aura asked. No, Celeste said firmly. I want to talk to him, myself. The next morning, Celeste stepped into a sleek black hovercar. Dressed simply, with a plain jacket and boots, she didn't look like a billionaire. Her driver looked nervous. Ma'am, Zone Delta isn't safe. I'm not asking for safety, she interrupted. Just drive. The streets became rougher as they neared the ruined edge of the city. Old factories stood like skeletons, their windows broken and walls stained with time. The car stopped near a small fire under a broken bridge, where a few people huddled for warmth. Celeste stepped out, walking slowly. People stared at her, unsure whether to run or ask for help. She held up her hands peacefully. I'm looking for someone. Orion Vale. A tall figure stood from the shadows. His coat was the same. His eyes were calm, though surprised to see her. You, Orion said. Celeste smiled slightly. I came to thank you properly. You didn't need to, he replied. I was just doing the right thing. Maybe, but not many people do that anymore. He looked around at the others nearby. These people, we've all been forgotten. Celeste hesitated. Maybe I can help change that. They sat on a broken bench nearby, steam rising from an old heating vent. She told him about a project she was working on, an experimental program to help injured soldiers recover using advanced biotech. Most of them lost more than just limbs, she said. They lost direction, purpose, Orion nodded. I know. The feeling. I need someone like you, she continued. Someone strong, honest, real. I want you to be part of it. Orion looked at her carefully. Why me? Because you reminded me what humanity looks like, she said quietly. He didn't answer right away. His life had been full of broken promises and cold offers. But her words didn't feel fake. They felt real. I'll come, he said at last, but not for the money or fame. I just want to feel useful again. Celeste smiled. That's all I hoped for. And as they shook hands under the rising light of morning, neither of them knew that this partnership would soon shake the future of humanity itself. Orion Vale stood at the edge of Zone Delta, a place of broken buildings and forgotten souls. He looked down at the small card in his hand, silver letters across a black background. Arden Biotech, private entrance. Dock 47. It was hard to believe. Just a few days ago he was fixing a flat hovercar in the cold, and now he had been invited to something far greater. He took a deep breath and walked forward. A quiet transport pod waited at the old warehouse entrance. As he stepped in, a soft light scanned his face, confirming his identity. Welcome, Orion Vale, said a calm voice. Please remain seated. Destination, AEGIS Research Facility. The pod moved silently underground, through a tunnel lined with glowing panels. Orion's eyes scanned every detail. It was clean, advanced, and nothing like the outside world he knew. After 10 minutes, the pod stopped, and the doors slid open. A tall woman in a white coat greeted him. Mr. Vale, welcome. My name is Dr. Marin Leaf. I'll take you to Miss Arden." They walked through wide halls with glass walls. Inside, people in lab coats worked on strange machines, glowing suits, and floating data screens. One room held a tall robotic exosuit that shimmered like metal and muscle combined. "What is this place?" Orion asked. Dr. Leaf smiled. "This is the future." They entered a wide chamber where Celeste stood at a console, typing rapidly. She looked up and gave him a warm smile. "Glad you came." Orion nodded, still not sure what I've gotten into. Celeste motioned for him to sit. "Let me explain. What you see around you is Project AEGI. It's more than a machine. It's a program to restore soldiers physically and mentally. Most of our tech is experimental, but with your help, we can finally move to the next stage." Orion looked at the screen. A 3D model of a human figure wrapped in an armored suit rotated slowly. "You want me to wear that?" "Eventually, yes," she said, "but we'll take it step by step. First, we'll heal what the war damaged: your nerves, your spine, your muscles. Then we'll train your body to sync with the Aegis system." Orion raised an eyebrow. "Why not use a soldier from your own team?" "Because none of them know what it feels like to be broken," Celeste said quietly. "You do. That makes you perfect for this." He stayed silent for a moment. The world had always treated him like a leftover part. But here, he was being treated like a key piece to something bigger. "All right," he said. "Let's try it." Over the next few days, Orion was given a private room, clean clothes, and regular meals. Doctors ran tests on his body, checking his reflexes, balance, and strength. Some of the results were worse than he expected. Years on the street had taken a toll. But the facility wasn't just about machines. It had calm music, nature simulators, and quiet corners where he could rest. He began to feel human again. One night, Celeste visited him while he was walking through the indoor garden. "Not bad for a broken soldier," he joked. She smiled. "You're more complete than most people." "I know." He looked around. "Why do all this? For someone like me." Celeste sat beside him. "Because I believe technology should lift people up, not replace them. And because I lost someone once. My brother. He was a soldier, just like you." Orion didn't ask for details. He simply nodded, understanding more in silence than words could express. And in that moment, beneath the soft glow of artificial stars, a quiet partnership was born. One made of trust, pain, and hope. A bond that would soon be tested in ways neither of them could imagine. Orion Vale walked through the glowing corridors of the hidden facility, feeling like he had stepped into another world. This was nothing like the dirty streets or abandoned buildings he had called home for years. Everything here was clean, quiet, and carefully designed. The lights hummed gently. The walls were lined with panels that responded to touch. It all felt unreal. Dr. Marin Leaf met him at the elevator. "Good morning, Mr. Vale," she said cheerfully. "Ready for your first full day in the lab?" Orion nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." They entered a large underground chamber. It was high-ceilinged and full of strange machines. Technicians moved from screen to screen, checking data and adjusting robotic arms. In the center of the room stood the prototype suit, Aegis, tall, sleek, and powerful looking. It wasn't a weapon. It was something different. Celeste Arden appeared beside him. She wore a lab coat today, her hair tied back neatly. "This is the heart of our work," she said. "AEGIS isn't just armor. It's a second skin, built to respond to your thoughts and help your body heal." Orion walked around the suit, his hand running along the smooth outer shell. "Looks like something from another world." "In a way it is," Celeste said. "We built it using hybrid tech, part AI, part bioreactive material. It learns from its user, adapts to stress, and even helps repair injuries in real time." Sounds like magic, he muttered. It's science, she replied, but only if it works. For the next several days, Orion followed a strict routine. He trained in a special room called the sync chamber. There, he was connected to machines that monitored his heartbeat, muscle strength, and brain waves. Electrodes were placed on his skin, and holograms tested his reflexes. At first, it was hard. His body was slower than he remembered. His left leg trembled when he tried to balance. His hands ached during simple tasks. But Orion didn't give up. He had survived war. He had survived the streets. He wouldn't let a few machines defeat him. Celeste and her team watched everything. They adjusted the suit's programming as Orion trained. Bit by bit, the Aegis system began to respond to his movements. When he lifted his arm, the robotic arm lifted too. When he ran, the suit's sensors recorded his speed and made suggestions to improve his stride. It's sinking, Dr. Leaf said one afternoon. Faster than we expected. He's adapting, Celeste added, not just physically, mentally, too. One evening, after a long training session, Orion sat alone in the observation deck. From there, he could see the entire lab below. The glowing lights, the moving arms, the silent effort of so many people working together. It reminded him of the army, but cleaner, calmer. Celeste joined him. She brought 2 cups of warm herbal tea. You're doing well, she said, handing him a cup. Orion took it with a quiet nod. I still don't understand why you chose me. She looked at him seriously. Because people like you are the reason this project exists. Real people. People who've been through pain and kept moving forward. He looked down at the lab. Do you think this suit will really help people like me? I do, she said softly. But only if we get it right. And to do that, we need someone who knows what it's like to be broken and still have the strength to heal. Orion took a sip of tea. The warmth spread through him. He didn't say anything else. He didn't have to. In that moment, deep beneath the city where no one else could see, something strong and silent began to grow. Trust, purpose, and the start of a future Orion never thought possible. Each day in the underground lab brought new challenges for Orion Vale. Though his body was tired and sore, he welcomed the pain. It meant he was alive, and more than that, it meant he was getting stronger. Inside the sync chamber, the IEGI suit stood tall like a silent guardian. Orion had now spent several weeks training, and slowly, the suit was becoming part of him. The suit was still in its testing phase. At first, Orion had worn only parts of it, an arm piece here, a leg joint there. The goal was to allow his body and mind to adjust to the suit's movements. At times, it felt like trying to walk through water. But as the days passed, something changed. Now when he moved, the suit moved with him. One morning, Dr. Marin Leaf greeted him with a wide smile. Today's the big day, Mr. Vale. Orion raised an eyebrow. Another test? She nodded. Full body sync. For the first time, Orion would wear the complete version of the AEGIS prototype. The technicians carefully helped him into the suit. It attached itself to his skin like a second layer, cool, light, but full of power. As it locked in place, he could feel the soft vibrations through his muscles and bones. Ready? Celeste asked from behind the safety glass. As I'll ever be, he replied. Stepping into the test arena, the room was filled with obstacles walls, moving targets, and a small climbing wall. A gentle beep signaled the beginning of the test. At first, Orion moved slowly, his body still adjusting to the new balance. The suit's AI whispered small suggestions in his ear. Step wider. Use your right leg more. Breathe steady. He followed the instructions, jumped over barriers, climbed the wall with ease, hit every moving target with speed and precision. The suit didn't feel like a machine anymore. It felt like part of him. In the observation room, Celeste watched in silence. Her fingers were tightly clasped, but her eyes were proud. He's doing it, she whispered. "The suit's responding faster than we expected." Dr. Leaf nodded. "He's not just wearing the suit, he's becoming it." After the test ended, Orion removed the suit slowly. Sweat dripped from his forehead, but his smile was calm. For the first time in years, he didn't feel weak or broken. He felt whole. Later, as he sat alone in the garden room, Celeste joined him with 2 energy drinks. "You looked like you were flying in there," she said with a light laugh. "I almost forgot what strength felt like," Orion replied. "But now I feel like I could lift a mountain." "You're doing more than lifting. You're becoming the model we needed. Others will follow after you." Orion looked down at his hands. They were still rough and scarred, but stronger now. "I didn't expect this when I helped you on that road." "I didn't expect it either," she admitted. "But sometimes fate works in strange ways." He glanced at her. "What happens now?" Celeste's smile faded slightly. "Now we prepare for the next phase, real field testing. There are people out there who won't want this project to succeed. They see it as a threat." "You mean the other companies?" he asked. She nodded. "Especially Helix Dynamics. They believe in control, not healing. They build machines to replace humans. We build machines to help them." Orion's jaw tightened. "Then we'll show them what real strength looks like." Celeste placed a hand on his shoulder. "We're not just building technology, Orion. We're building hope." And deep in that underground lab, beneath the shining towers of a divided world, a man once lost to pain and poverty now stood taller than ever, ready to rise, ready to fight, and ready to lead. The transformation had truly begun. The days at the underground lab passed with purpose. Orion Vale's body had grown stronger. His mind was sharper. The Aegis suit responded to him like it was alive, like it understood his every move. Celeste and her team were proud. For the first time, their dream of healing broken lives seemed within reach. But not everyone wanted that dream to come true. Far across the city, inside a tall black tower, another meeting was taking place. This tower belonged to Helix Dynamics, a powerful tech corporation known for its weapons, machines, and silent control over governments. Its CEO, Victor Cross, stood before a large screen, watching a secret video feed. On the screen, Orion moved inside the Aegis test chamber. He jumped, dodged, and struck with perfect control. Victor's eyes narrowed. Arden Biotech has gone too far. A man beside him spoke quietly. "Should we shut them down?" Victor nodded. "They're building something dangerous." A man with that suit could change everything. "We need that technology, or we destroy it." Back at the lab, Celeste was reviewing test data when Dr. Marin Leaf rushed in. "Celeste," she said, voice serious, "we've detected a data breach." Celeste turned sharply. "How bad?" "Someone copied video from our test runs and blueprints of the Aegis suit. They bypassed 2 firewalls." Celeste stared at the screen. Her heart sank as she saw the stolen files. "This wasn't a random hacker," she said. "This was Helix Dynamics." Orion entered the room just as they were speaking. "Something wrong?" Celeste looked at him, her face calm but her voice tight. "Yes, we've been found. And I fear they won't stop at stealing files." That night, alarms blared throughout the lab. "Emergency breach detected. Level 4 alert." Orion jumped from bed and ran into the hall, finding guards rushing to secure entrances. He spotted Celeste near the central control room. "They're here," she said. "Helix sent a strike team. They're after a Aegis." Orion didn't hesitate. "I'm suiting up." Inside the armory, the Aegis suit opened like a shell waiting for its pilot. Orion stepped in. As the pieces locked around him, the world changed. His vision sharpened. His muscles surged with energy. The eye in the suit greeted him. "Welcome, Orion. Sync level, 97%. Outside, shadows moved through the lab. Helix mercenaries in black armor entered silently. They were well-armed and well-trained. But they didn't expect Orion. He struck like lightning, fast, silent. Focused out with every step, the Aegis suit enhanced his speed, balanced his weight, and analyzed his enemies. He disarmed one attacker with a twist, dodged a plasma bolt, and slammed another against a wall. Inside the control room, Celeste worked quickly to back up data and shut down access points. "We can't let them get our research," she told. Dr. Leaf. Orion fought his way toward them, protecting every inch of the lab. The enemy was strong, but not stronger than a man with nothing to lose and everything to protect. After 15 minutes of intense battle, the last of the intruders were forced to retreat. The lab was damaged, but the core systems remained untouched. Breathing hard, Orion removed his helmet. Sweat covered his face, but his eyes were calm. "They'll come again," he said. Celeste nodded. "Yes, and next time they'll come harder." "We need to move the lab," Dr. Leaf said. "Go somewhere they can't find us." Celeste looked at Orion. "We'll need your help to lead the team." He nodded. "You have it." That night, while the stars above Neo-Seattle twinkled like distant fires, deep underground a new purpose was born. The threat had revealed itself, and the war for the future had begun not with guns and missiles, but with courage, trust, and one man inside a suit built to protect. 2 nights after the attack, the lab was quiet, but not calm. Engineers packed equipment, scientists backed up files. Security drones scanned every hallway. The team was preparing to move the entire facility to a safer location, a hidden base. Far beneath the Martian cargo rail system, Orion Vale stood in the training room, fully suited in a EGIS armor. His eyes scanned the data on the wall screen heat signatures, movement alerts, and live drone footage of nearby zones. "They're getting closer," he said. Celeste Arden entered the room, holding a tablet. "Helix has tracked us again. We estimate an attack within the next hour." Orion turned. "Then we fight." Celeste placed a hand on his shoulder. "You won't be alone." The lights dimmed as power shifted to defense mode. Walls closed around sensitive equipment. Aura, the eye system, began to lock down research rooms. Dr. Marin Leaf gave orders to her team to head to the emergency tunnels. The lab was about to become a battlefield. Outside, the enemy arrived. Silent airships, dark and heavy, landed near the ruined warehouse above the lab. Black armored soldiers dropped quietly into the shadows. Their mission: steal the AEGIS suit, erase Arden Biotech, and silence anyone who stood in their way. But this time, Orion was ready. The first wave hit the outer doors. Explosives shook the hallways. Red warning lights flashed. Orion moved like lightning through the smoke-filled corridors, defending the facility with calm precision. The AEGIS suit helped him react faster than the human eye. He blocked bullets, dodged attacks, and countered with incredible force. His fists shattered weapons. His feet moved with perfect control. Security drones flew overhead, firing warning blasts and stunning attackers. Some Helix agents tried to hack the system, but Aura shut them out, locking doors and scrambling their signals. Inside the main lab, Celeste watched the chaos through security feeds. Her heart pounded, but her voice remained steady. "Orion, hold them as long as you can. We're almost finished with the backup." 5 more minutes." "Copy that," Orion replied, breathing hard but steady. Helix's second wave was larger and smarter. They used smoke grenades and MP charges to blind sensors. They sent 2 soldiers directly to the control room. Orion changed direction instantly, sensing the danger. He burst through a side wall and tackled both attackers before they reached the doors. One hit the ground hard. The other tried to escape, but Orion pulled him back and knocked him out cold. Back inside, Dr. Leaf shouted, "We're done!" All data secured. Time to evacuate. Celeste nodded. Everyone, head to Tunnel 3. Move fast. Orion met them at the tunnel gate. His suit was scratched, but he was still standing strong. You're coming too, Celeste told him. I'll hold the rear, Orion said. Just go. Celeste didn't argue. She knew he was right. As the team escaped through the underground rail tunnel, Orion stayed behind for a few final minutes. He placed a coded charge near the lab's core system, a failsafe. Helix soldiers reached the entrance just as the last backup drone left. Orion hit the switch. A bright light flashed. Boom. The lab collapsed in a safe but powerful explosion, burying its secrets deep beneath tons of steel and rock. Orion ran through the tunnel, catching up with the team at the evac pod. Celeste looked at him with relief. You made it. Of course, he said, smiling slightly. I don't leave missions unfinished. The pod launched silently, speeding toward the next phase of their journey. As Neo Seattle grew smaller. Behind them, Orion sat quietly, watching the stars pass by. The lab was gone, but the dream was alive. He had protected something greater than a machine. He had protected hope. And though the war was not over, tonight was a victory. The evacuation pod flew quietly through the dark transport tunnel, deep beneath the Earth's surface. The lights inside flickered gently as the pod carried Celeste, Orion, Dr. Marin Leaf, and a few key team members toward safety. Everyone was silent. Tired, some were bruised. A few had tears in their eyes, not from fear, but from the pain of leaving behind the place they had worked so hard to build. Orion sat near the door, his Aegis suit still active. He stared at the darkness outside the window. His heart was calm, but his mind was alert. He had fought many battles in the past, but this one felt different. Celeste sat across from him. Her face was pale, her hair slightly messy, but her eyes were focused. You saved all of us, she said softly. You saved me first, Orion replied. Back on that highway, a small smile appeared on her face. I guess we're even now. The pod stopped after a long hour of travel. Large steel doors opened slowly, revealing a hidden underground station. This was an old cargo base from the Mars expansion program, forgotten by most, but rebuilt by Celeste's team in secret. As they stepped out, clean air filled their lungs. Solar lights brightened the steel tunnels. It was safe. For now. Dr. Leaf took the team to the control room, while Celeste and Orion walked to a small balcony that overlooked the new lab space below. It's not as advanced as the old one, she said, but it'll do. Orion looked down. Workers were already moving equipment. Drones were setting up walls. People were working because they still believed. This place has something the old lab didn't, he said. What's that? A second chance. They stood there for a while, the silence between them filled with understanding. Then Celeste turned to him. I need to tell you something, she said seriously. Orion nodded. Go ahead. She took a deep breath. You remember I said I lost someone? My brother? Yes. He was a soldier. Like you. He volunteered for one of the early Aegis tests before the suit was ready. Something went wrong. The system overloaded. His body couldn't take it. Orion's eyes widened. He died. Testing this? Celeste nodded slowly. After that, I almost shut down the whole project. But I kept going, because I believed it could still save lives. I thought if we found the right person, it might work. And you think I'm that person? I know you are, she said. You survived things most people couldn't. You gave the suit meaning. You proved it could help, not hurt. Orion was quiet. He had never asked about her past, and now he understood why this meant so much to her. I'm sorry about your brother, he said. But I'll make sure this project becomes what he believed in. I'll protect it, and I'll protect you. Celeste looked into his eyes and smiled. Then we finish what we started, together. Later that night, in the new lab's command center, Orion stood before the small group of engineers and doctors. He wasn't a general or a commander, but they listened to him because they trusted him. "We've lost our home once," he told them. "We won't lose it again." The Aegis project is more than a machine. It's a symbol. A second chance for soldiers, for survivors, for everyone who has ever been broken. He paused. "Helix tried to shut us down. They failed. And if they come again, we'll be ready." The room filled with quiet determination. Outside, the stars above Mars glowed red and gold. A new day was coming, and this time, Orion Vale wouldn't face it alone. Months had passed since the attack on the old lab. Deep beneath the Martian surface, the new Arden biotech facility was alive and growing. Scientists worked day and night. Machines hummed quietly. Drones moved through the halls, building more rooms, more labs, more hope. And at the center of it all was Orion Vale. He stood in the main training chamber, wearing the latest version of the AEGIS suit. It was lighter, faster, and stronger than before. But more importantly, it had been tested by him. It had saved lives. And now, it was ready for the world. Orion moved through the obstacle course like flowing water. He jumped, turned, and lifted heavy loads with ease. But this was no longer just about his strength. It was about preparing others. At the edge of the room, 3 former soldiers watched closely. They were the first members of the AEGIS recovery program, a new path for wounded veterans to regain their strength and find new purpose. Orion removed his helmet and walked toward them. His voice was calm and clear. "This suit gave me a second chance. Now it's your turn." Later, in the upper control room, Celeste Arden looked down at the scene with pride. Her dream had become real. She had not only rebuilt the lab, she had rebuilt lives. Dr. Marin Leaf joined her, holding a small tablet. "Everything's ready," she said. AEGIS training will officially begin across 6 Earth stations next month. The board is approving civilian versions too, for medical rescue, construction, and even space missions. Celeste nodded. "Just like we planned. Human-first technology. And Orion?" Dr. Leaf asked. Celeste smiled. "He's not just our lead test pilot anymore. He's our symbol. Proof that people can rise no matter how far they've fallen." That evening, as the sun set over the red Martian hills, Orion walked alone outside the base. His steps were slow, thoughtful. The wind blew gently across the dusty ground, and the stars began to appear above. Celeste joined him a few moments later, wearing a warm coat. "I never thought I'd see this view again," Orion said. "Neither did I," she replied. They stood in silence for a while, watching the night sky. "Do you ever think about how all of this started?" he asked. Celeste nodded. "A flat tire on a cold road," he chuckled. "Back then, I thought you were just a rich woman with car trouble. And I thought you were just a kind stranger," she said with a soft smile. "Funny how one small moment can change everything." Orion looked up at the stars. "Do you think Helix will come again?" "Maybe," she said, "but we're stronger now. And we have the truth on our side." "Then let them come," Orion said. "We'll protect this dream." Inside the base, new trainees arrived every week. Some walked slowly with canes. Others rolled in with robotic limbs. But all of them came with one thing in common: hope. Orion trained them personally. He didn't just teach them how to use the suit. He taught them how to believe again. Celeste continued to lead the mission, expanding the project across Earth, the Moon, and Mars. More companies began to notice, but none could match the heart behind Arden Biotech, because this wasn't about machines. It was about people. 1 year later, a statue stood outside the main base entrance. It was simple but powerful, a figure wearing the AEGIS suit, reaching a hand out to help another rise. Below it, the words were written clearly: to those who fell and chose to rise again. Orion Vale stood beside the statue on that day, no longer a forgotten soldier, no longer homeless or lost. He was a hero now, not because he was strong, but because he gave others the strength to stand again. And as the stars above Mars watched silently, humanity took one more step forward. Together,